And welcome back inside the Robert J. Collins Arena for game number 2 tonight of our doubleheader tonight in the Collins Arena. Tim Califemo alongside Brian Gowns with the Brookdale men's basketball team getting ready to square off against Harrisburg Area Community College, or HAC as they are collectively known. Both these two teams come in on a little bit of a slide, and for Brookdale tonight, Brian, it's really about just trying to get back to basics. They've had issues with some inactive, some ineligible players. Now they come in against a team that's right next to them in the Region 19 standings. They need a win tonight, both teams do, to keep their chances alive for the Region 19 tournament.
Yeah, it always makes it a big game when you have two teams jockeying for position in the standings, and as you mentioned, these two teams sitting back-to-back spots in the standings at 7th and 8th, respectively. And for Brookdale, we're going to get a look at some new faces in this game tonight that Paul Chizek and the coaching staff hope will be big-time contributors.
Yeah, Jordan Smith and Tyler Hawkins, two of the players that have been added to the roster for Brookdale. And, of course, when you look at the entirety of the team, as you see the starting five pop up on your screen for the Jersey Blues, Jordan Smith and Tyler Hawkins. Jordan Smith, the football player that comes over from Keene University, and Tyler Hawkins, a very well-regarded recruit as a point guard, will come in and start for them. It's Smith, Teray Gatling, Randy Sutton, Jameer Calhoun, along with Tyler Hawkins starting off for the Jersey Blues. For the Harrisburg Area Community College Hawks, it's Ainsley Vasquez, Ontario Edmonds, Jordan Lynch Rexroth, Kareem Hicks, and Chris Adams, the five on the floor for Harrisburg tonight. As Sutton to open up the game cannot complete the three from the top of the key. And it will go back to Harrisburg for their first offensive possession. I mentioned both of these two teams are right next to each other in the Region 19 conference standings. Harrisburg at 7th in the standings at 10-7, 8-3 in conference play, whereas Brookdale is right behind them, one spot below in 8th. 9-7 overall, 7-6 in Region 19 play. It's a foul here right to start off the game on Tyler Hawkins as he bumped into Ontario Edmonds near midcourt. So that's the first on Hawkins and the first team foul on the Jersey Blues to begin this first half. Harrisburg in the red, Brookdale in the white. As I mentioned in the opening, both teams have lost 3 games in a row. They're trying to shake that off tonight in conference play here in the Collins Arena. Shot clock down to 5. Edmonds with nowhere to go. Throws it at the feet of Adams, and it's scooped up by Jordan Smith, who was fouled at midcourt by Vasquez.
Well, like you said in the open, I think it was a good way to put it. Brookdale wants to get back to basics in this game, and one of the fundamental things this team typically does very well is defend, and they didn't feel like they defended at their best in the last game against Ocean. Obviously, they had other issues in that game, but that's where they want to improve going into this game tonight.
Calhoun with a turnaround jumper inside, and it goes as Brookdale is able to get on the board. They lead 2-0. So once again, this is Vasquez guarded by Tyler Hawkins. Brookdale opens up this game in a man-to-man defense. Here's Rexroth inside, and he's able to get the layup to drop in the paint, and we're tied at 2. And this is Jordan Smith to Calhoun again. Smith on the drive. The floater is short. Kareem Hicks grabs the rebound. Rexroth dribbling at the top of the key. Not a whole lot of movement here for Harrisburg on this possession as the shot clock is winding down. That's Sutton poking the ball out of bounds. There'll be 9 to shoot for the Hawks.
Yeah, Harrisburg's only had a couple of possessions, but they've yet to get anything going near the basket. The ball just staying deep on the perimeter. Credit the Brookdale defense for allowing that to happen, and now they got the shot clock up against them.
Edmonds with 5, guarded by Smith with 4, has it stripped away. Pass from Hawkins up ahead to Smith, and Smith is fouled before, no, he traveled with the basketball before he got to the rim, so it's a turnover there for Brookdale.
Smith didn't think so, trying to make an early impression as Brookdale debut, a guy who has a lot of skills that are going to be on display today, but that time in the officials' eyes took one too many steps for the turnover.
Our officials this evening, Rondale Taylor, Thomas McDermott, and Elliott Clark. Another steal this time by Randy Sutton. Calhoun, tough shot inside, he's fouled. I think they may get Chris Adams with the personal. We'll double check that. That'll be the first on Adams and now the second on Harrisburg. So Jameer Calhoun will go to the foul line. In the last game that Brookdale played in the loss on Tuesday against Ocean County, he had 14 points, 13 rebounds. He's close to averaging a double-double every time he steps on the floor. He's 6'5" sophomore from Lakewood. 2 out of 2 from the line for Calhoun, and Brookdale leads 4-2. Vasquez trying to get it inside to a cutting Rexroth. That's taken away. Smith the alley-oop. He's able to adjust in midair after the assist by Tyler Hawkins.
Yeah, that's the two newcomers hooking up on that beautiful alley-oop. Hawkins laid it out perfectly, and Smith the finish.
6-2, Brookdale in front. 3 minutes into the first half. Vasquez, the floater. Doesn't go. Tip up, not able to go in from Kareem Hicks, and it'll stay here with Harrisburg. Let's watch this again. This is the inbounds pass. Shot clock resets for Harrisburg. Rexroth, right elbow jumper is good. And a quick timeout taken by Coach Chizak very early on here in the first half, as he is not happy with that last defensive set for his team that was in a man-to-man defense. It'll be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here on BTV. Gives us a chance to kind of reset things. You see Harrisburg there, coached by John Brenham in his 3rd season as head coach. Was a walk-on at Penn State for 3 seasons in the late 1990s. And he was co-coach of the year in 2017 in the Region 19 Conference. Whereas Coach Chizak, on the other hand, 28th season as head coach, told us before the game he feels his team can shake the rust off if they just execute like he knows they can.
Yeah, and offensively, he wants to see them get back to running and gunning, as he told us before the game. The newcomers, Smith and Hawkins, he feels they had a speed dynamic to this team that they probably were without in that game against Ocean with only 5 players available.
Brookdale has yet to sub anybody out of the game as Smith can't convert from the right arc. Gatling the fadeaway off the heel. Tip up is up and in by Jameer Calhoun. Brookdale regains their 4-digit advantage, 8-4. They remain in the man-to-man defense. We know Coach Chizak does not like to play a 2-3 zone very often. We saw that a lot against Ocean County. Brookdale didn't have much of a choice. They only had 5 players, as from the corner, knocking down the 3 is Edmonds. Quickly up the floor, Smith inside to Calhoun. A blocking foul is called on the low block on Hicks.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about with running. They don't just run after they force a turnover or off a missed shot. They will run off a made basket by the opposing team, and that a lot of times catches the other team by surprise, as it did Harrisburg that time, forced to commit a foul. Otherwise, it would have been an easy basket.
See John Brenham there on the sidelines. Brenham, as I mentioned, is his 3rd season. Hopes that his team can get off to a good start as we have a kickball here on the floor. It'll stay here with Brookdale. Shot clock is still at 30. I mentioned the foul was on Hicks. That was his 1st. It's the 3rd on the Hawks. Sutton controlling the basketball. Along the baseline for Gatling. Nice defense here by Harrisburg. Shot clock down to 10. Sutton with 7. Smith, the 3 on the way. It's an air ball. And the rebound weak side is controlled by Rexroth, taken away by Hawkins, but he was on the baseline.
And we should mention that while Brookdale has gained a couple of players in Smith and in Hawkins, they're feeling the loss of Lamar Johnson, who was a guy who was their leading scorer, kind of carried the load offensively, could score inside and out, and it's tough to replace that kind of offensive production.
Long 2 there by Edmonds, rims out. Offensive rebound, though, is controlled by Rexroth, and Harrisburg resets for the moment. Yeah, Lamar Johnson, Jazir Clark, and Keyshawn Cummings, 3 players that are gone for the rest of the year for Brookdale. Coach Chizak is hoping that those 2 new players, Tyler Hawkins and Jordan Smith, as you see Gatling there after the assist from Calhoun at the other end, puts it in for 2.
That was just absolutely beautiful. Calhoun able to high point the ball, somehow the catch and the touch pass to Gatling for the easy bucket.
Rexroth denied inside by Gatling. Now here's Jordan Smith, finds a cutting Sutton, and he puts it in for an easy 2. And a timeout taken by Harrisburg as Brookdale has gotten out to a 5-point lead with 14:20 left here in the first half. Yeah, we talked about Lamar Johnson going out, Keyshawn Cummings going out. As you take a look at the last basket there, as Sutton was able to chip it in for 2. Jazir Clark also gone for the rest of the year. And Coach Chizak told us that he feels with the players that he has on his team right now, especially with Jordan Smith and, of course, Tyler Hawkins, both coming in, both as new players. Tyler Hawkins being a freshman, Jordan Smith being a sophomore. He feels that you can never replace players that are talented like Lamar Johnson or Jazir Clark or Keyshawn Cummings, but you can certainly fill a hole, and he feels that those players should, from what he has seen this year and from what we've seen in this game, can fit into the Brookdale offense very well.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for Tyler Hawkins is it gives Brookdale a guy who's a true point guard. That's something they've kind of lacked. It's been Makai Morgan off and on this year. It was forced to be Morgan in the last game against Ocean, but Hawkins really a guy who's a true point guard on the floor, a floor general, a guy who can dish it out, lead the team in assists, and they need a guy like that.
So after the timeout by Coach Branham, Harrisburg will inbound, down by 5. Brookdale still has their original starters on the floor. Again, they have yet to sub anybody in this game. Hicks tried to split the defense, and Hawkins was tripped up as he was going down to the floor to grab the basketball. So we'll see who the foul is on as the officials confer. It's on Kareem Hicks. That's his 2nd personal, so he'll have to come out of the game for Harrisburg. A big loss in that regard for the big man, picking up 2 early fouls. He averages around 16 points a game. He finds himself on the bench, and in for him, Chris Adams. Sutton double teamed for a moment, and he's fouled right in front of Coach Branham. That is now team foul number 5. Foul is on Rexroth, that's his first. Calhoun, left elbow jumper, good.
Calhoun's really a guy who's been on a roll of late for Brookdale. He's on this streak of double-figure scoring games. It's something like 10 in a row, so he just continues to impress.
Adams working it against Gatling. Now back out to Rexroth. Brookdale trying to adjust here. Here's Cole Weakland inside. Now back out to Edmonds. 8 to shoot. Rexroth has got 5. Feed inside to Adams is broken up and taken away by Smith. Gatling. Now over to Sutton. Left arc 3 for Randy Sutton is good.
And Sutton, a guy we've seen fulfill both roles. He's back in the starting lineup, but he certainly works well coming off the bench where he can provide instant offense, has that shooting ability, and puts it on display there.
And it's a double-digit lead now for Brookdale, 17-7. Weakland along the baseline, he's fouled. Coach Chizak a little upset on the sidelines. It will be on Tyler Hawkins. That's his second personal. He remains in the game for the moment. However, I do see Emilio Stevenson heading over to the scores table. Garfield Antone now in the game. Takes the three, top of the key over Hawkins, doesn't fall. Weakland is there with a rebound, got it over to Edmonds, he couldn't finish. Scramble underneath the basket, Edmonds again this time, able to finally chip it in.
Edmonds, good persistence. That time staying with it in a crowd down near the basket and eventually gets it to go.
Long pass there for Smith, he's able to corral it. Hawkins wide open to the top of the key. Left it short. Gatling the rebound. Shot clock resets. Calhoun, a left wing jumper again is good for Calhoun.
Boy, that's just a silky smooth jumper that Calhoun has. The second time we've seen him step at it about that range and nothing but net.
Back up to a double-digit lead now for the Jersey Blues. Under 12 minutes left to play here in the first half. Edmonds, extra pass to Weakland, and he traveled. Brookdale will make their first sub of the game, as in for Tyler Hawkins is Emilio Stevenson. So he will check into the game. The 6'2" freshman from Brielle. We mentioned this at the top of the program. If you were with us on Tuesday, you saw that Brookdale only played against Ocean County with 5 players. Calhoun was one of them as he takes another jumper. This one doesn't fall for Jameer Calhoun. But Brookdale only played with 5 guys in that effort, and remarkably, they only lost by 2, 73-71. It was their 3rd straight loss, but a lot of it had to do with some inactives and, of course, the ineligibilities that we've well documented in this game, as Gatling picks up a personal. That'll be his first. Dante Yates comes in for Cole Weakland for Harrisburg. As they will inbound with 20 to shoot. Antone. Top of the key for Rexroth. Right elbow jumper, too strong. Rebound Calhoun. Emilio Stevenson open for a 3. This one's not even close, didn't even hit the rim, but the foul is on Harrisburg. It'll stay here with Brookdale.
And another nifty pass from Calhoun. We've seen him a couple of times in this first half. That touch pass, previous time it set up a basket. That time, though, Brookdale misses, although they retain possession.
Foul was on Chris Adams. That's his second, and now that is the 6th team foul as Adams comes out of the game for Harrisburg, and for him again, Weakling. Sutton left it short. Harrisburg is now 1 away from being in the bonus, I should say, not the double bonus. We're not even halfway into the first half, not territory that they want to be in. Yates. Got it over to Antone from the corner, it's good.
And Jordan Smith that time defensively just allowing too much airspace, and Antone realized he was wide open and drills it from the corner.
Garfield Antone coming off the bench and knocking down that 3 brings Harrisburg to within 7. Sutton, the dribble drive, taken away by Weakland. Rexroth with a hand in his face. That was Smith. Didn't get the jumper to go. Tipped around and taken away by Sutton. 3-on-1. Sutton to the hole. Doesn't get the layup to go. A beautiful move, though. Back to Brook. Actually, he'll go back to Harrisburg. I thought that was Harrisburg that touched it last, but the officials point the Hawks' way.
It was a great move by Sutton. I thought they might get him for a travel there, as I thought he may have taken one too many steps, but it didn't work out for Brookdale anyway.
So Randy Sutton goes to the bench. In for him, Stephon Forbes, a player that's only played one game this year. That was on Tuesday against Ocean County. He had 19. Inside. Edmonds couldn't get the jumper to go, and it's rebounded by Jordan Smith. Dangerous lob in the Gatling, and that's a turnover as it's taken away by Antone. Weakland right in front of the Brookdale bench. Front rim no good. Remains 19-7, or 19-12, excuse me, as here at the other end, Jordan Smith was expecting contact and a foul, didn't get it. Harrisburg has a 5-on-4 opportunity if they hurry here, as Smith now walking his way up the floor. Weakland from the corner again, off the heel.
They couldn't take advantage of that 5-on-4 opportunity. Had a good shot, but missed.
Hawks now appear to be in a 2-3 zone defense. Changing up their look. They were in man-to-man for the majority of this first half. Shot clock is down to 10. Calhoun to Stevenson. Clock down to 3, down to 2. Smith at the buzzer, the 3. Off the back rim, no good. Good defense there by Harrisburg. See if they can cut in the Brookdale lead.
Yeah, that possession just developed a little too slowly. I don't think Brookdale realized they were caught off guard by the shot clock winding down, and Smith had to force it up at the last second.
Weakland, wild layup is good off the glass with the right hand.
Dare I say, a strong move by Weakland and a nice finish with the right hand.
And the Hawks are now within 5. Now Harrisburg back to a man-to-man defense. Stevenson open in the corner for 3, got it. Emilio Stevenson gets on the board, and Brookdale goes up 22-14.
Yeah, and Stevenson kind of playing the role that Randy Sutton does when he comes off the bench. Today, though, Sutton in the starting lineup, so Stevenson provides that role of another shooter coming off the bench.
Yates with the basketball in the left arc. Edmonds fouled inside. Coach Chizek not quite happy about the call, but it'll be a foul on Brookdale. They will call it on the floor, so it will not lead to shots from the line. The foul was on Forbes. That's his first team foul, number 4. Jordan Smith and Jameer Calhoun check out of the game as you get a good look at Coach Chizek there. 28th season as head coach. Going with the no-tie look tonight, but dressed all in green.
Yeah,
Hoping that's his lucky charm.
That's like 3 games in a row. But he said he's not going back to the dressy look until his team gets off the snide here with a win.
Harrisburg couldn't convert after that foul, I should say, to give them another opportunity on offense, and it remains 22-14. Tyler Hawkins and Khalil Campbell checked in for Brookdale. Campbell couldn't handle the pass from Forbes. It's taken away here for Harrisburg as they come up the floor with Yates. Feed inside to Weakland, a power move over Emilio Stevenson, and Coach Chizak wants a timeout. Let's take another look at this last basket. Watch the cut inside by Weakland as he's able to lay it in. I want to remind you that our telecast tonight is brought to you by Joyce's Subs and Pizza. They are located at 655 Newman Springs Road in Lincroft, New Jersey. You can call 732-741-9660 or go and order online at joycessubsandpizza.com, serving the community since 1965. Well, we mentioned Brookdale and Harrisburg have each lost 3 games in a row. In the loss that Harrisburg had against Luzerne Community College on Tuesday night, where they dropped 107-95, Kareem Hicks played very well in that game. And you look at Harrisburg as a whole, they play a slightly different schedule than Brookdale does. They don't necessarily play the Middlesex counties or the Cumberland counties or even the Rowan College at Gloucester counties of the world like Brookdale does, but they do have some opponents in common. One most notably Northampton, which was actually a team that Harrisburg beat earlier this season back in December when they won 78-67. Kareem Hicks had 18 points in that game to lead the Hawks. And the real issue that Harrisburg has had is they've had some inconsistencies on offense, but foul trouble has been a problem for them. They average 20 team fouls a game. That's not where you really want to be, and we've seen that already with some issues early on in this game. Campbell now back to Stevenson as the clock is down to 10. Hawkins had it stripped inside. Here comes Harrisburg with Dante Yates. Yates has it rejected from behind by Stevenson.
My goodness, what a rejection. Stevenson's already made his mark on this game offensively by hitting a three, that time getting back in transition and swatting this shot.
Harrisburg will inbound. It'll be 25 on the shot clock. Dangerous inbounds pass, and it's taken away by Smith. Smith at the other end. The layup is good.
That's just great anticipation by Smith. Was tracking that from the second it was inbounded, picks it off, and then sets himself up for the easy bucket on the other end.
Jordan Smith did play football at Keene as a wide receiver. He also, I'm sure, has some defensive-minded background in him, possibly as a quarterback, and was one of those nice defensive plays made. As we have an offensive foul here on Harrisburg, as Smith got knocked down to the floor. It's on Ontario Edmonds. That's his first personal, and now the 7th team foul on the Hawks.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure about that call. Looked to me like a pretty good flop on the part of Smith, but Brookdale will take it.
Under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Calhoun, a tough jumper off the glass is good.
Oh, Calhoun's been the player of the game for Brookdale in this first half. I mean, he's shown that ability to step out and shoot the jumper. He's set up teammates as well and playing his best basketball.
Yates out to Weakland, and Weakland traveled right in front of Coach Chizak. Another substitution here for the Hawks as Tate Pendell, who was in the game for maybe all of a minute, comes out of the game for Harrisburg. In for him is Vasquez. Calhoun, right elbow jumper is good. It almost doesn't seem to matter where Calhoun is shooting on the floor. He's been shooting lights out so far in the first half.
And if you're Harrisburg, you have to make an adjustment defensively. Make sure you get a hand in his face. He's just having uncontested looks at the basket and making all of them.
Calhoun again. He's fouled this time at the other end by Weakland.
One time he was going for a strong finish. We've seen jumper after jumper, that time aggressively, as Harrisburg will make him earn it at the free throw line.
Foul is on Cole Weakland. That's his first, now the 8th on the Hawks, as the number of fouls charged against Harrisburg is continuing the climb. Calhoun at the foul line for 2 shots, makes the first. A 6'5" sophomore from Lakewood. Air Force Reserve member, played at Ocean County College from 2010 to 2011. Back at Brookdale to close out his collegiate career. Makes them both from the line, and he has been spectacular so far in this game for Brookdale. It's a 14-point lead. Garfield Antone. A lot of dribbling, now gives it over to Rexroth. Goes inside. Edmonds had position, but it was blocked away from behind by Smith. Teray Gatling comes in for Jameer Calhoun. Khalil Campbell also, or I'm sorry, actually it'll be Tyler Emilio Stevenson. Brookdale couldn't figure out who was subbing out as Khalil Campbell was coming in. It's Stevenson and Calhoun that go to the bench. Gatling and Campbell come onto the floor for Brookdale. This is a nice jumper there from the left elbow as the Hawks are within 12. Kick out to Stephon Forbes in the corner, left it short.
And Forbes hoping for a bounce-back shooting effort in his season debut. He had a good point total, scored 19 points, but just 8 of 25 from the floor and 1 for 13 from three-point range. He knows he can be better than that.
Also mentioned it earlier, it was his very first game this season as a sophomore. Top of the key, 3 for Antone is good. Garfield Antone.
Antone providing the spark that the Hawks needed. They had been stuck on 16 points, and then he hits a couple of trays to get them closer.
It's a mini 5-0 run now for the Hawks. They are within 9. Sutton back out to Smith. Top of the key, 3 for Smith is an air ball. Sutton almost came down with the rebound, but he lost it. Now up to Antone. Antone, another 3. This one back iron, no good. Ball is knocked around. Edmonds inside is fouled.
It's almost just shooting practice for Antone, who had made a couple and saw himself wide open, couldn't make it a third, but now free throws coming for Harrisburg.
So the foul is on Jordan Smith. That is his first personal. At the line, Ontario Edmonds, the 6'1" sophomore from Silver Springs, Maryland. Shooting 69% from the free throw line this year, short on that first attempt. Edmonds has a career high, or I should say a season high, of 16 points earlier this season against Philadelphia. That came back in December. Edmonds' second attempt, missed that one as well, too strong. So the foul on Jordan Smith doesn't hurt Brookdale there, as Smith out of control, lost the ball, and Edmonds on the floor gets the timeout in time, as Harrisburg will convene and see what they can do down by 9 with 3:15 left here in the first. The upcoming schedule for Harrisburg, they go on the road on Tuesday, next Tuesday, to play Lehigh Carbon Community College before they have 2 straight home games to close out the month of January against Delaware Tech and against Northampton, a team that Brookdale is familiar with. They beat Northampton. Brookdale did back in the Collins Arena earlier on this season by 2.
And one issue for Harrisburg is they haven't won their games in conference. They have just a 2-9 record overall in those games. This is a team that started off red hot. They were 7-0, really feeling good about themselves, flying high, but since they've hit the skids and have lost 7 of their last 10, including 3 in a row, so they're trying to find a way to get back on track.
Antone over to Weakland. Gets it into Edmonds, now back to Weakland. In the paint, Weakland driving and lays it in. It's a 7-point lead for Brookdale. A 7-0 run for the Hawks. Stevenson, right wing 3 is good. He made one from the left wing, now he makes one from the right wing, and Brookdale goes back up by 10. Smith spinning his way inside, a tie up here. Possession arrow is pointing Brookdale's way, and they will maintain possession. Another substitution here for Harrisburg as Edmonds comes out, and in for him is Kareem Hicks. Hicks spent the majority of the first half on the bench with 2 personal fouls. But he's back in again. I mentioned he needs to have a good night. He averages a double-double for Harrisburg. Stevenson, thought about a 3, and this time smartly gets it over to Calhoun. Calhoun, a tough jumper, his front rim no good.
And Calhoun feeling it a little too much, maybe extended the range there from the corner and couldn't get it to go.
Rexroth, the jumper, teardrop jumper is good for Jordan Lynch Rexroth.
And Rexroth likes that mid-range area on the floor. We haven't seen him shoot it from long range, but he's comfortable from about 10, 15 feet away.
Stevenson again. Shot clock down to 15 here for Brookdale. Back to Gatling. It's a 2 if it goes. Too strong off the back iron. Harrisburg with some numbers here. Rexroth takes it to the hole, and he's fouled. Gatling was kind of lagging there on defense. I'm not quite sure what happened there. He was near the mid-court line. And I think Rexroth realized that there was a mismatch inside, took it to the hole, and he got fouled. Foul is on Jordan Smith. That's his second. So Jordan Lynch Rexroth at the foul line, the 6'2 sophomore from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's the first one to go. Averages around 12 points a game as Smith comes out of the game for Brookdale. And Stephon Forbes checks in for the Jersey Blues. Rexroth is a player with his size that Harrisburg is going to have to lean on sometimes inside with the foul issues that Kareem Hicks has run into in this game.
Yeah, and Hicks has really been a total non-factor. A guy who's one of their leading scorers, but as you mentioned, he's been taken out of the game due to foul trouble, so Harrisburg has to find some other options.
Sutton over to Stephon Forbes. Shot clock down to 8 now for Brookdale. Gatling nowhere to go. Sutton the 3. Rebound Weakland. I think that was a pass inside intended for Hicks, and he wasn't ready for it. He was posting up down low against Calhoun, and nobody home.
Yeah, Weakling frustrated with Hicks. He gave him a look like, I threw you the ball, where were you?
Calhoun looking to go inside. It's well clogged up. Now here's Stevenson giving it back to Calhoun. It's stolen away on the baseline. Back to Harrisburg. So under a minute left to play here in the first half. Harrisburg can cut the Brookdale lead to 1 possession if they get a 3. They were down at one point by double digits, and they've been able to claw their way back in. Here's Yates. Bad pass taken away by Gatling, or is it? Rexroth saves it. At the other end, the 3 goes in for Cameron Barkavage as he's able to chip it in, and again, it's a 1-possession game. The shot clock is turned off. Brookdale holding for the final shot. Gatling to Forbes, the 3. Falls off the rim. Calhoun fighting for it, and he's fouled with 1 second left in the half. So he'll go to the line with an opportunity to tack on a couple of extra points as Harrisburg is near the limit. That's their 9th team foul.
And overall, this has been a tough way to close out this half for Brookdale. As you mentioned, they once led by double digits. It was 30-16. It feels like only a few minutes ago, but this run by Harrisburg has cut it now inside of 5 points.
So Calhoun makes the first attempt from the line. He'll get 1 more. Makes them both. 35-30. On the steal, Calhoun couldn't make the 3. A terrible pass to inbound the basketball. That could have been bad to end the first half for Harrisburg. But somehow, luckily, they're able to come away with only being down by 5. And we talked about, of course, that, Brookdale played very well, were very strong in the first half. At one point, they led 30-16, Brian. But as the first half kind of progressed, Harrisburg started to make a couple of shots. They started to make a couple of threes. And in the end, that's where we stand with a 5-point lead only for the Jersey Blues.
Yeah, the one saving grace for Brookdale in this half has been Jameer Calhoun. He's been the player of the first half for Brookdale. We've seen him make a number of jump shots, but it's not just the shooting. He's rebounded. He's set up a couple of teammates with assists, so he's really the guy Brookdale has looked to for offense, but they can't feel good about the way that first half ended. They'll have to make some adjustments coming out in the second half and hope they can come away with a win.
And then, of course, for Harrisburg, they are trying to get back on the swing of things. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that both teams have dropped 3 games in a row. Harrisburg certainly looking, if they can pull off a win tonight against Brookdale, would be quite impressive. I know Brookdale, by looking at the record, has had a down year, but that's not really indicative to what they've been through. But what do they need to do in the second half, Brian? Because Brookdale has done a very nice job of shutting them down inside, it seems. They've picked up some foul trouble, but they've shot the ball pretty well from around the perimeter, and that's the reason why they're only down by 5.
Yeah, and they definitely shot the ball well in those last few minutes. They were struggling early, but then guys like Rexroth got going in the mid-range, and as you said, that's the one adjustment I think they need to make is limit the number of fouls coming out in the second half because they quickly piled them up, got themselves in trouble, and that allowed Brookdale some chances at the free throw line, so they'll want to clean that up. This
is a team in Harrisburg that averages just over 20 team fouls a game, so that's certainly something that the Hawks have to clean up in the second half. Brookdale leads by 5. We'll take a break here on BTV, come back with the second half from the Collins Arena tonight, live on BTV after this. And welcome back inside the Robert J. Collins Arena. Tim Califramo alongside Brian Gounsworth here on BTV as we welcome you to Thursday Night Hoops. Brookdale leads by 5 against Harrisburg Area Community College, 35-30. Brian, in the second half, what are you looking from both teams? As we've seen a very exciting game so far.
Yeah, well, Jameer Calhoun led the way, and I look for the Brookdale offense to continue to run through him. Why not? 18 first half points. He showed the ability to shoot the jump shot. He finished at the rim. An all-in-all strong first half from him.
To lead Harrisburg was Garfield Antone, who had 8 points. He led the way for the Hawks as Harrisburg out of their halftime break trying to get something going on this possession, and they turn it over as Kareem Hicks traveled with the basketball inside as he was guarded very tightly by Teray Gatling. Jordan Smith open from the corner for a 3. It rattles out no good, and the rebound controlled by Hicks, who Brian and I both mentioned in the first half was on the bench for the majority of the time because of foul issues. This time he's fouled inside, and he'll go to the foul line for 2.
Yeah, so he hopes for a better fate here in the second half because he was a complete non-factor on the bench, as you said, most of the way. But he's one of their leading scorers, so Harrisburg wants to see him get going.
Foul is on Calhoun. That's his first personal, as Coach Chuzak is arguing with the officials. Hicks at the foul line. First one rattles out no good. Kareem Hicks, I mentioned earlier, he averages a double-double. He had 27 points as a season high against Luzerne earlier this year. Only shooting 52% from the line, and as a result, he only makes 1 of the 2. 35-31, Harrisburg is within 4. Smith on the break, up to Calhoun, the one-hand flush for Jameer Calhoun.
Great decision there by Smith because the defender was right in his face. He finds a slicing Calhoun and a big finish. We saw him have one of those in the last game against Ocean, a one-hand dunk with the right hand, similar fashion that time.
It's a 6-point lead now for Brookdale. Hicks, one-on-one with Gatling. Forces his way inside, and he's fouled. No, it's going to go the other way. This time it'll be on Harrisburg. They may get Chris Adams here, and if it's on Adams, it's his 3rd. We'll check it. No, instead it's going to be on Kareem Hicks, but same song, second verse, as Hicks picks up his 3rd personal. Brookdale looks to add to their lead. Smith in the paint, a tough shot. Doesn't fall. And Hicks the rebound. Nearly tapped away by Hawkins there. Hawkins goes into the bench. 5-on-4 opportunity for Harrisburg, and they turn it over.
The ball just going all over the place, boundary to boundary. The save tries from both sides. That was a great hustle play by Hawkins, but then Brookdale's able to take it after Harrisburg was unable to control it on the other side.
Brookdale on the floor with Randy Sutton, Teray Gatling, Jameer Calhoun, Jordan Smith, and Tyler Hawkins. As they come up empty on that possession, it's Hicks, Antone, Edmonds, Rexroth, and Adams on the floor for Harrisburg. 2 minutes in, Brookdale leads by 6. Hicks off the mark from the right elbow, and another foul this time on the Hawks. This may go against Edmonds as he pushed off underneath the basket. That's his second personal.
Yeah, he looks rather incredulous at that call, but that's exactly what it was. He pushed off trying to get the offensive rebound, and Brookdale takes over.
Well, we talked about the foul issues for Harrisburg. That's been one of their weak spots this year. Lots of fouls. And Calhoun just bobbled the pass, couldn't handle it from Randy Sutton. But that has been an issue for Harrisburg in this game and throughout the majority of this season. Rexroth with the shot clock now down to 13. Guarded by Sutton. Inside to Hicks. Turnaround shot. Calhoun the rebound. Sutton looking to push here. Goes right around Rexroth to the hole and lays it in.
A beautiful move. I think Sutton may have lulled Rexroth to sleep that time. Didn't think he was going to go around him, and then a burst of speed to get past him and all the way to the rim.
3 minutes into the second half. Brookdale now back up by 8. Antone, the fadeaway with Smith with a hand in his face. It doesn't go. And now Brookdale once again on the break. The feed to Gatling. He's fouled on the basket for Teray Gatling. It's going to be on Rexroth. We'll check the number on him, but it will send Teray Gatling to the foul line for one shot.
Yeah, we talked earlier about Paul Chizek wanting to see his team get back to running offensively. Well, that's a good display of it right there, and the tough finish by Gatling can't convert the three-point play, though.
It's the third foul on Rexroth, and as Brian mentioned, Gatling, who is not historically a bad three-point shooter, not able to hit it from the line. It's taken away, though, on this possession. Another turnover for Harrisburg. Smith lines up for a three. It's off the heel of the iron, no good. Rexroth tried to get it in transition to Adams. It's taken away by Calhoun. Over to Gatling. Maybe a little bit too much passing there as Brookdale will have to reset. Hawks in a 2-3 zone. Shot clock down to 9. Calhoun, tough shot. Antone. Now to Edmonds, and a whistle and a timeout actually will be taken by Harrisburg. As they want to talk things over, they have allowed Brookdale to jump back out to a double-digit lead. Remember, it was 5 at the halftime break, 35-30. Now Brookdale leads 41-31. And we talked about the upcoming schedule for Harrisburg in the first half. For Brookdale, they have Union County College, a team that they lost to earlier this year on the road. It was a tough game. They lost that game by 3 points back in early December. They'll have them in a single game matchup on Sunday at 1 p.m. That'll be on BTV, so Brian and I will be back for that one. Then on Tuesday, Brookdale plays Bergen Community College at 7 p.m. before they get ready to close out the month of January on a road stretch. They go up to Sussex County on January 24th, and then they play Dutchess County College on the 26th. So schedule does not get any easier. Sussex, a team that Brookdale beat pretty handily just a few weeks ago. But Union, a team, Brian, that is always tough regardless of what type of team they have, because they're scrappy, they're aggressive, and there's kind of this in-state rivalry between Union and Brookdale.
Yeah, I think that's the key part of it. Those matchups are always fun because it's two teams that play relatively close proximity. They're very familiar with each other, the styles of how they play offensively and defensively, so it's always fun when those two teams meet up.
7 to shoot here for Harrisburg. Edmonds now over to Cole Weakland, who checked in during that timeout. Shot clock is down to 8. Weakland guarded very tightly by Hawkins there. Edmonds the 3, front rim no good. Hicks, though, puts it in underneath the basket. Brookdale running. Calhoun saves it out of bounds. Hawkins, the three is good. Tyler Hawkins, the freshman, 6'2" from Tinton Falls, gives Brookdale a 44-33 lead.
And Hawkins hasn't really found a rhythm yet offensively playing in his first game of the season. Maybe that'll get him going as he hits the three.
Edmonds tried to get it inside to Rexroth. It went through his hands. Smith lost it. Rexroth to the hole. I think he was expecting contact. Hicks, though, can't get the easy layup to go inside. Calhoun still fighting for the rebound, and he finally gets it up to Sutton. Brookdale on the break again. Hawkins with the layup.
Nice move by Hawkins that time in transition going around Edmonds. I thought was going to look to draw the charge that time, but he didn't. Hawkins went around him and scored.
Hicks right at Smith, a clean rejection. And now here come the Jersey Blues the other way. On a 5-0 run, Gatling can't get the layup to go. There was some contact, no call. Weakland on the other end, as you take a look at that last rejection by Smith, is able to lay it in. It's an 11-point lead now for Brookdale.
And that time nobody picked up Weakling slicing through the middle of the paint, found him in stride, and he lays it in.
Calhoun guarded by Hicks. Gatling now back to Calhoun. The jumper, good. Jameer Calhoun is just unstoppable from that point right around the baseline, Brian.
Yeah, he picked up where he left off in the first half. That's really been his sweet spot from the baseline. That distance from the basket, he's shooting a high percentage.
Terrific shooting from Jameer Calhoun. Remember, he had 18 at halftime, and he has continued to pad his efforts. He is on his way to a career night if things continue the way that they are. Khalil Campbell checks out for Teray Gatling. Dante Yates also comes out of the game for Harrisburg, and for him, I believe, is Garfield Antone. Sutton. Smith couldn't get the tip up, and it's controlled by Antone. Taken away by Hawkins. Hawkins, nice anticipation. Feed inside to Smith, and Smith banks it home off the glass.
And Hawkins and Smith, that's been a good combination when Brookdale's gotten out in transition. The two of them have been able to find each other on the break for easy baskets.
Brookdale now up to their largest lead of the night at 15. Remember, this game was at 5 at halftime. Vasquez inside, may have gotten fouled on his way to the hoop, no call. Rexroth fighting for it inside, it's short. Still knocked around, and Hawkins comes away with it. Up ahead to Campbell, and Campbell all alone lays it in at the other end.
Khalil Campbell, a guy that we haven't really seen too much on the court this season, but getting a chance now with the roster shrunk a little bit, now a chance to make an impact and see how he fits in going forward.
Antone was falling down to the floor and got fouled. So a bailout foul committed there by Brookdale. We'll check the foul. They may get Jordan Smith here, and if it's on Smith, it's its third. Let's watch this again. I don't know. I don't know if the foul occurred when Smith got beat or if it was on somebody else, but they charged the foul to Smith, and that's his third. He comes out of the game. Teray Gatling comes back on the floor along with Emilio Stevenson. Hicks wants the ball. Has it posting up against Campbell, and a tough shot is good by Hicks. Vasquez guarding Hawkins. Emilio Stevenson open in the corner, and he hits it again. 3 threes for Emilio Stevenson off the bench tonight for Brookdale.
That's just great teamwork. It got a light applause from Paul Chizek on the sideline. That's how you know it was a well-executed play.
Barkavage. Lob inside to Hicks, again at Campbell. Can't get the bucket to go, puts it back up and in.
Yeah, well, Hicks, after not being heard from in the first half, has found his impact now. He's scoring on the inside. He's tough to defend. A big body, has a presence down near the basket, and tough to block him out.
6'4" freshman from Philadelphia. Hawkins, all types of contact, had it blocked. Hawkins is down at the other end. It's a 5-on-4 opportunity for Harrisburg. And now a kickball is called here on Stevenson as Hawkins is slow to get up. He's limping. Waves off Coach Chizak as if he does not want to come out of the game. As Campbell will take a seat on the bench for Brookdale and Calhoun will come in after being on the bench for not even a minute. Coach Chizak looking on. Weakland. Shot clock down to 8. Drives inside, lost it for a second. It's taken away by Gatling. And Sutton all alone at the other end will easily lay it in with the right hand. 57-39. Brookdale has really opened up this game in the second half. Vasquez draws the contact inside. He'll shoot 2.
Yeah, no, don't we see that a lot of times in the games we've called? Brookdale not at their best in the first half, and then they get stronger as the game goes on. I think that's just the sign of a good team, and it's not truer for any other team than Brookdale.
So Vasquez at the foul line, the 5'6" sophomore from New York, New York. One of the smallest players on the floor, but certainly one of the fastest, as he was included in the starting rotation tonight for Harrisburg. Foul was on Calhoun, by the way. That was his second personal. He stays on the floor for Brookdale. 17-point lead. Harrisburg has only managed 11 points since the halftime break. Maybe 15 here, as now inside. Vasquez couldn't get the tough layup to go. Weakland, though, the jumper, that rims out. Harrisburg was trying to cut the Brookdale lead to 15, and they had 2 opportunities at the rim, and they both didn't drop. Hawkins, the 3, short. Rebound, Weakland.
And Stevenson probably could have taken that jumper. He's made a couple from that spot, opted for Hawkins that time, and they couldn't cash in.
Chris Adams has come in for Kareem Hicks, who's on the bench for a quick breather. Adams is battling foul trouble, and more fouls trouble for Harrisburg, as I think they're going to say that was a moving screen. I'm not 100% sure there. That was on Cameron Barkavage away from the ball. It's the first on Barkavage and the 4th now on the Hawks in the second half. Tate Pendell has also come into the game now for Hack. And Stevenson was on the baseline, not a great pass from Tyler Hawkins. So after a high-flying start to the second half, both teams have gone cold the last couple of minutes as turnovers have now become an issue. Brookdale averages 17 a game. That's been a number that Coach Chizak has tried to clean up. A long 3 by Barkavage is off the mark. Rebound, though, Adams. Shot clock resets. Weakland inside. Layup got partially blocked. And now Hawkins from the left elbow. The teardrop jumper for Tyler Hawkins.
Nice job by Hawkins. Very much under control. He's plays the point guard position smoothly, and that time stepping into the in-rhythm jumper. Nothing but net.
Pendell was going to follow his shot because I think he thought it was off, but he's able to bank it in from behind the arc.
Yeah, he definitely didn't call bank that time.
He knew it. He was intending to follow his shot, but didn't have to. So, nice job by Tate Pendell as he gets on the board. Brookdale takes a quick timeout here with 8:23 remaining. They lead 59-44. And we talked about, of course, Lamar Johnson, Jazir Clark, Keyshawn Cummings, 3 players that Brookdale will no longer have for the rest of the year. Cummings had missed the last 3 games before it became official that he would be out for the rest of the year. There was a possibility that Lamar Johnson and Jazir Clark could come back into the rotation. It's been confirmed this evening that they will not. But from what we've seen, Brian, in this game so far, Brookdale really has been able to pick up almost where they left off before they started having issues with ineligibilities and some players not being able to play on certain nights. It's a shame that Brookdale had arguably two of their toughest opponents to play during that stretch when things were uncertain with the team against Cumberland County and against Rowan College at Gloucester County, because I really don't think that was a fair assessment of what Brookdale was really about. But still, nonetheless, Cumberland and Rowan were able to pick up very good wins against the Jersey Blues, who were on the road. However, going back to the point that I made a moment ago, Brookdale really doesn't seem to have lost much of a step. They're firing on all cylinders, they're getting out and they're running, and they're scoring points, which is what we're used to seeing this team do.
Yeah, and it's almost unheard of for this team to lose 3 games in a row like they did and lose to a team like Ocean, but they were up against it with that game with the players that weren't available to them, but they've gotten back on the horse this game and are playing much more accustomed to what we expect. And Paul Chizek told us before the game that the starting line that they have for this game is really the unit they were looking at as being the starting line that they wanted to see this season. And this 5 is going to be the unit going forward. They hope it gets the job done.
Kickball is called. It'll stay here with Brookdale with 17 to shoot. Yeah, just talking about that Ocean County loss, Brookdale, as I mentioned earlier, had 5 players only. They had Makai Morgan, Teray Gatling, Stephon Forbes, Teray Merritt, and Jameer Calhoun. That was it. They had nobody else. They had no subs. They somehow managed to play 40 minutes of basketball with no substitutions and miraculously only lose the game by 2. A lot of missed layups and a lot of turnovers in that game led to the undoing for the Jersey Blues. Not quite out of this one just yet as Harrisburg is making an industry. Pendel trying to get another 3 to go. This one is off the mark, but an offensive rebound keeps the drive alive here for Harrisburg. Weakland. Barkavage. Stopped inside, may have walked. Hicks able to take his time. Nice ball fake and puts it in for 2.
Yeah, I think Paul Chizek thought there should have been a travel. He tried to make that known to the official as he was running by, to no avail.
Emilio Stevenson, who has been hot from behind the arc in this game. Playing very well as a freshman. Here's another freshman, Hawkins for 3. Back iron, no good. Hicks fouled inside by Stevenson before the shot. Harrisburg has been able to work the ball around the perimeter, but Brookdale's defense, especially inside, as you take a look at John Branham, the 3rd-year head coach for Harrisburg. I mentioned he played as a walk-on at Penn State for 3 seasons. Owns his own business, ironically enough, and was named co-coach of the year in 2017. They work the ball around the perimeter, but have had issues scoring and finishing as Sutton finishes this time at the other end for Brookdale. 61-46 now. Under 7 minutes to play. Sutton almost had another steal. He's pointing that way as if it was, he didn't touch it, but obviously he did, and they'll stay here with Harrisburg with 22 to shoot.
Yeah, and Brookdale's, while they played well all game long, they've never gotten to the point where they've blown this game completely out of the water. Harrisburg's been able to keep it at around a 15-point deficit. They're not completely going away, giving themselves a chance to get back in if they make a big run. Thus far, though, it hasn't come.
Barkavage over to Antone for 3. It's good. Garfield Antone answers back.
Yeah, and he was the guy in the first half when Harrisburg was struggling offensively and were down by 14 points that got going with a couple of jumpers. So we'll see if that's the same here in the second half.
He's currently in double figures tonight. All alone, Calhoun. He gets the tough shot underneath the basket to go. Antone led Harrisburg at the break. Calhoun, though, was the leading scorer for Brookdale, and as I said a moment ago, he is moving his way, if not already, to a career night. Jumper is short there by Edmonds. He follows his shot, but he can't come away with the rebound. Stevenson, another three. This one not on target. Two-three zone here for Brookdale. Edmonds lost it, went through his legs, and Calhoun able to scoop up the loose change in the backcourt. Another turnover for the Hawks. Sutton may have walked with it. I thought he picked up his dribble, but the jumper is good for Brookdale anyway. It doesn't matter, but the entire Harrisburg bench jumped off, saying that Sutton had picked up his dribble. That's what it appeared to look like from up here in the broadcast booth, maybe not. Rexroth had his pass taken away by Sutton. 1-on-2, Sutton to the hole, he lays it in.
Now Sutton's just really good at finishing in transition. Gets the steal, sees where the defender is trailing him, knows he can go up because he has a clear path, and lays it in.
Rexroth tipped again, and again taken away by Sutton as he's fouled. Falling down to the floor by, I believe, Antone. We'll check it just to be official, but it will be on Harrisburg. That'll be their 5th team foul, and the first on Antone. Tyler Hawkins will come into the game for Emilio Stevenson, who heads to the bench. Barkavage and Edmonds come out of the game for Harrisburg, as Weekland and Pendel come back on the floor. Sutton a little too far underneath the basket that time. Now here's Jordan Smith with the drive, and he's fouled by Hicks.
And Smith playing in his first game of the season. He's been a little rusty, hasn't really had the shooting stroke working, but you can see that he's a player this program looks at as a guy who fits well with what they want to do. Runs in transition, kind of a high flyer, good speed, and he's going to be a big factor going forward.
Smith able to hit the first attempt from the line, much to the delight of the Brookdale faithful that are here. And I will say, Brian and I have talked about this off camera, there appears to be more and more people that come into these games. We see clusters of them around the arena. Admission is always free, by the way, if you ever want to come out and watch a game in the Collins Arena, as Smith makes them both from the line. There's a cluster of fans right there.
I think that's what an undefeated season a year ago will do, get people interested in this program.
Great arena and great place to see some basketball against teams that on the women's side are nationally ranked. The men's, they've struggled this year, but they're still one of the top teams in the region. Shot clock is winding down. It's a kick ball. It'll stay here with Harrisburg, but because it's a kickball, Harrisburg catches a break. The shot clock was down to 6. It resets to 20. Coach Branham looking on. Long three there from the right arc. Doesn't fall for Antone. And Harrisburg now starting to run out of time as Weekland commits a foul near midcourt. So that's the second foul on Weekland, now the 7th team foul on Harrisburg. And once again at the foul line, Jordan Smith, the 6'2 sophomore from Hazlitt. Coach Chizak looking on. We talked about him going tieless. I told him that maybe that's the reason why your team has struggled. He has not worn a tie for 3 straight games, and they've lost 3 straight games. Brookdale's trying to change that tonight as Smith can't hit the 1-and-1 from the foul line. Unlike Coach Brunson on the women's side, who gets all his ties from Italy. Maybe he could take some pointers there. Jumper in the paint is good by Antone. It's an 18-point lead. Harrisburg has now gone to a much tighter man-to-man defense as Weakland, who's got 2 fouls, is all over Tyler Hawkins. Coach Chuzak screaming something. Now the shot clock is winding down, and a carrying violation is charged to Tyler Hawkins. As Coach Chuzak very upset on the sidelines, being very vocal.
Only he can be very upset with a possession when you're up 18 points, under 3 minutes to go. In all likelihood, this is going to be one in the win column, snap a 3-game losing streak. But that's him, always intense until the final buzzer sounds.
Hawkins may be able to make up for that carrying call. Here he is at the other end drawing contact, and he will go to the line for 2. Brookdale just shows how quick they are and how quick they can get out and run and get to the other end of the floor. Foul is on Dante Yates. That is his first personal, and now the 8th team foul for the Hawks. On the flip side, Brookdale only has 4 team fouls in this second half. Hawkins has the attempt from the line rattle out. Tate Pendle comes in for Yates, who goes to the bench. And we talked about Tyler Hawkins, a player that Brookdale wanted to put in earlier in the year, was not eligible because of the late transfer and the late paperwork and all that stuff with the regulations, as nobody home there for Harrisburg turnover. But now that he is back, we are seeing his potential, and along with Jordan Smith, you mentioned it in the first half, Brian, those two seem to really play well together on the floor.
Yeah, and 2 that are in the starting lineup. There seems to be a chemistry already, which they couldn't have had too much time on the court, but perhaps they got to know each other well during practice, and it's translated to the game.
Hawkins couldn't get the finger roll to drop as we approach 2 minutes left here in the ball game. Brookdale trying to snap a 3-game slide, and they've just about got this locked up as an air ball from the corner by Pendle doesn't fall. Sutton tees up a 3. Short. Gatling the rebound. Bounce pass into Smith. Lost it, and it's taken away, rolling around on the floor. Weakland, he gives it over to Rexroth. And a walk right here in front of Coach Chuzak, who almost got run over on the sidelines by Tom McDermott. I don't know what really happened there, but Chuzak had to get out of the way.
That's the first foul on McDermott.
Still as intense as ever with his team leading by 18. Hawkins goes around the screen, now gets to Calhoun. Had a clean block by Weakland, and because Calhoun came back down, that he walked.
Really nothing he could have done there. Just trying to get hold of the basketball.
So for Harrisburg, it looks like more and more they will suffer their 8th loss this year and fall to 10-8. And again, we mentioned how close these 2 teams are in the standings, so this will shake those up, maybe flip-flop the 2 teams as Sutton gets another 2 to add to his already impressive resume tonight after the assist from Hawkins. Brookdale was 8th in the standings at 9-7 overall with a win tonight, and Harrisburg losing, which was 7th in the standings. They probably will move up. Remember, the top 8 teams, the reason why that matters and the reason why I've brought that up a couple times is because in the Region 19 tournament, which is not only your ticket to win your conference, but also your ticket to go to the Nationals, you have to be in the top 8 in the conference to qualify. Brookdale is right at that threshold, the last team in if the tournament were to start today. As a whistle with 34 seconds left to go in the game. I'm not sure what this is about. Timeout looks like was taken by Harrisburg, actually. It's a quick 30-second timeout, so just momentarily pausing the action. It's been an exciting night of basketball. Mercer County College played the women's basketball team here in the Collins Arena earlier this evening. Brookdale was able to get a win handily over them, and looks like Brookdale is well on their way to getting another win. And we'll stop a 3-game slide for Harrisburg. Unfortunately, it's back to the drawing board for them. They're on the road against Lehigh Carbon on Tuesday.
It'll be their 4th loss in a row as their downward spiral continues after the 7-0 start to the season. It'll be 8 losses in their last 11, so they've just seen things slip away from them.
New player that's checked into the game in the closing minutes, Jonas Demko. Number 22 in the red for Harrisburg, as that will most likely be the final possession of the game, and Brookdale, I think, will be more than content to dribble the game out. Brookdale led by 5 at halftime. It was close, but in the end, Brookdale wins by 20. They take down Harrisburg Area Community College tonight, 71-51. And they stop a 3-game slide and possibly back to business as usual if you're the Jersey Blues, as they pick up a very impressive win this evening, Brian, over a team in Harrisburg that has had their ups and downs this year, certainly. I mean, we're not discounting that in any way, but was a good team that was within the top 8 in the standings. They get a good win against them tonight, and now it's back to the drawing board for Brookdale, thinking that maybe they can finally shake off those lingering 3 games that they lost in a row.
Yeah, this was a much-needed performance, a game they had to have. I mean, we talked about this team losing 3 games in a row is not something they're used to at all. So they wanted to come out with an A effort, which they did tonight. Really started in the first half, and I think Jameer Calhoun was the guy who set the tone. Started making jumpers early, found a rhythm offensively, had 18 points in that first half, really continued that into the second half. And Brookdale had a strong performance top to bottom. They defended well, they played well offensively, and we heard before the game today one of the assistant coaches, Charlie Hawthorne. What did he say to us? The 3-game losing streak ends tonight. He was pretty confident his team responded, and that's what the Jersey Blues did tonight.
Yeah, usually Charlie doesn't really say that much. It kind of surprised me, actually, in pregame warm-ups that he would go that far to make such a bold statement. But how impressive was Jordan Smith and Tyler Hawkins, the 2 players? We talked about them throughout the broadcast, filling in for arguably some of the best players that are no longer eligible. Lamar Johnson, how impressive were they tonight, Brian?
Yeah, we got to see our first look at them, and they had an impact, especially I thought Hawkins running the point. That's something they haven't really had. Like we said, it's been Makai Morgan off and on, but they need that floor general, and I think they get that with Hawkins. Smith is a guy you could see is going to be a big scorer for this team, and really they're going to need him because they don't have Lamar Johnson the rest of the way. He was a guy who averaged over 20 points a game, so they're going to ask Smith to take some of his load offensively and be one of the leading scorers, and you could see the chemistry the 2 of them had on the floor. I think that's going to prove to be big going forward.
Well, Brookdale gets their 10th win of the year. They take down Harrisburg Area Community College tonight, 71-51. Brian and I will be back as the men are not quite done with their games this week. They have a very tough game coming up at home on Sunday against Union County College. The Owls come down here to play. Brookdale lost to Union County earlier this year by 3. That will be a tough matchup. We'll have that game live here on BTV Sunday beginning at 1 o'clock. And then, of course, you can catch the Jersey Blues when they come back in here for a doubleheader on Tuesday against Bergen County College. That's going to bring our game to a close. We want to thank you for watching. For Brian Goudsford and, of course, the rest of our BTV crew, I'm Tim Catalfamo saying good night and so long from the Robert J. Collins Arena in Lincroft, New Jersey.